Hello, everyone, and welcome back towards our next session with Big Data Days 2023. In our next session, we only have one track going on because the other speaker is unfortunately down with COVID, but I'm going to be absolutely 100% certain that you're not going to be disappointed because we have the amazing Nguyen, who is going to be talking about designing a zero-based data pitch with you today. Before we go into his session, we have one exercise left. And remember that yesterday I announced that we are giving away a number of hard copy books by our keynote speaker from yesterday, Jordan Morrow, Be Data Literate to be exact. And in order to make a chance to win those books, we've been asking a number of questions throughout the whole conference, so that you can win or have a chance to win those books if you have as many of those questions correct. So before we dive into the session, I would like to ask another question to the entire audience. And this is a question around big data and what you've learned so far. It was actually discussed in one of the sessions, so I'm hoping that you know the answer. The question is, which of the following is not one of the 5 V characteristics of big data? Let me take a moment to start the poll. It should be appearing in your screen right now. So if you want to win the books by Jordan Morrow, we're giving away 3 copies, and you would like to have them sent to your home address, please take a moment to fill in the poll right now. Good. I see a lot of people are voting already. That's good. Gonna leave it open for 5 more seconds. And I'm gonna close the poll right now. Let me show the results to everyone. Most people answered it indeed correctly. 78% said it is vicinity. Some people argued velocity or veracity, which are unfortunately the false answers. The right answer should have been answer number 2 right here. Good. Before we get started, let me switch back one quick second. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Eric Nguyen, one of our, I would say, earliest ambassadors of the Big Data Days, and one of our seasoned speakers who has been advocating for our automation and big data frameworks for many years. So it's with a great pleasure that I would like to introduce Eric, who's going to be presenting from Australia. Eric has been involved in RPA and as a business lead in solution design for RPA solutions for over 15 years. He has had experience with Telstra, one of the largest telco companies in Australia, and he has led various departments in various roles. His expertise comes from both formal training on Blue Prism, UiPath, and a lot of hands-on experience. Eric is also actively involved as a judge in various international competitions around the globe, and last year was also one of our esteemed judges. Eric, it's my great pleasure to welcome you back again as an esteemed colleague and maybe even as a friend nowadays. To be back at Big Data Days, and I really, really look forward to your session.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan, for your kind word. And hi, everyone. Thank you for your time to join me today. And let me just quickly share my screen now. Okay, let me see. It should coming up now. Okay, can you see my screen now? Hello? Okay, thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Nguyen. I am the Service Automation Alliance Ambassador. Today, I'd like to spend some time with you to cover a topic that I really have just basically put together those kind of like lesson learned throughout the years for this special occasion, the Big Data Days conference. And I call it designing a zero-based data pitch, but you can use the principle and the practical step there for any initiative that you have at work. So let's just dive into the agenda. So it is about all about the buy-in and build up the momentum in the certain time right now. But before we get into the details, I'd like you to have a minute for yourself to just write down 1 or 2 things that you want to learn today. And then 1 question that you have about the topic that I have just mentioned. So we have a minute from now. Please have it for yourself. We will use it at the end of the session. Please give me a thumbs up if you already have those 2 things in place whenever you're ready. No pressure. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, John. Thanks, Jameson. Oh, everyone. You too, Kai. Thank you. Okay, so we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, thank you everyone for your participation in this activity. Okay, let's go with the conversation we have today. So this is the rough agenda. So as you can see, we'll cover 5 kind of like a key area. In the news, it is all about the context. Then it is about the pitch, general information about what we've known or learned about the pitch so far. Then what is the zero-based data pitch? What exactly it looked like and how it is applicable to your everyday's activity, everyday's work. And then that's some key takeaway. And then we will have the Q&A session. All right, first thing first, in the news, the 2023, if you look back, this is only it is now only May, but when we look back, it feels like a lot happened. We after 2022, we thought that the worst was over with COVID, but now in 2023, now it is quite challenging. With the first is about the bad news in terms of economics. We talk about inflation from Europe, America to Asia or Australia. Then we have witnessed a massive wave of tech layoff in 2023. It literally from east to west. We talk about, like, say, the big 4 in the US, like Meta, Microsoft, Google, and even Amazon. Then all the way to China, when we have their IT titan that also had to go into the same pathway with layoff. Then we have, in terms of budget for business operation, is definitely challenging. It's very tight at the moment on spending for the current operation, let alone the future investment. Then all of a sudden, we have all the attention now is on the generative AI, for example, ChatGPT. It's still a lot of spotlight and a lot of question around what is that AI tool? How do we use it right away? So with that kind of like context, with those kind of like turbulence scenario and the change and the magnitude of challenge, think about your data initiative at work. How would you make it happen? How would you drive the outcome that you believe that you can improve with your idea? So that is the purpose of this session. It is about, for me, it is about against the odds, how you can increase the likelihood of successfully pitching your data initiative to internal stakeholders right now, not in the perfect scenario, but in this time where everyone literally facing multiple challenge, and we're literally in the unknown. So let's get into the pitch. One reminder is it's all about you sell the benefit, not the features. You don't just give the fact, but you give the context and the promise. Okay, so I think the best the best part of the pitch was about one thing, the elevator pitch. We probably have heard about it, or at least try to master it. It is basically just the concept of, hey, you have 30 seconds to a minute to share an idea and then manage to convince the audience, the target audience. And it is always very neat, with problem statement, with the vision, solution, and the planning. Then the action will follow through. Shark Tank TV series like Shark Tank or The Dragon Den, with various versions, definitely a great example of elevator pitch. However, I will give you a surprising fact that at least I've searched for today's session. I tried to search elevator pitch in corporate. Is there any real value there? Is there any real kind of like record in practice, in reality? However, I could not find anything. Okay, so then next I search for, is there any kind of like celebrity investor that get caught up with elevator pitch? And once again, the result was very disappointing. I did not see any result. So in a way, it is more like an urban myth that is not as smooth as you can see on screen, where things can go in a well-planned conversation and then drive to the action for an investment. So that's the first things about elevator pitch. Then now, if we move on to pitching data initiative, what I share on screen was around a couple key things around challenge and current common practice and the gaps that we know between the challenge and the practice. In short, the 6 challenge of any data initiative was around the business buy-in. Why I put down the word business buy-in, not buy-in? It was just because it is the perception. Most of the time when we talk about data initiative, we put a hat of a technician, of a data scientist, of someone who has the tool, who has the deep understanding of the data structure. However, we forget that the people from the other side of the table, their business, they work with data, but they work with the outcome. They don't really have the expertise or the understanding to have the same level of conversation about the data initiative that you might have in technical term. Then the next, after the first challenge, the business buy-in, it comes with the funding or the support, then the resource and capability of your own organization, and data literacy. Basically, it is like the artifact of the data that we have. Then the priorities, business priorities at the moment, whether it's a strategic priorities or tactical priorities. Then last but not least, it is about the value, tangible and intangible value of any data initiative. Then with those kind of like 6 key challenges, we have 3 common practice at the moment. It is first, it's very common to basically have a silo ideation to proposal of what we think a problem and come up with a solution wrap around our data initiative. That's the the most common practice. Then the second common practice, it would be about the solution purely from the lens of data professionals. In another word, this is similar to the idea, the first practice, but this is more at the kind of like the team level or division. So solution, it is all coming from the same aspect of data professional. Then last but not least, it is about focusing on technical advancement. In another word, it is about the leverage, the expectation that digital transformation or newer set of tools will solve the problem that the 6th challenge bring forward for any data initiative. So for those challenge and practice, it highlight, I can see there are 4 gaps that that really make the job of anyone who try to pitch the idea is so difficult. Number 1, it is about the gap was about the storytelling. We've learned that we need to tell the story with data. However, storytelling is not that simple about a nice message and then wrap around with information, with data, and put into, like, say, a framework to make it a story. A story is not a collection of word and fact put together, regardless how well and how well prepared and logical it sounds. It has to reflect other aspects as well, like emotion, empathy, as well as business acumen. Then business context, that's the part also in a way very well aligned with storytelling that I say it is still a gap. Business context, not just for, like, say, from a tunnel vision, kind of like isolated view of today or yesterday, but also for the future forward as well. Expectation from executive, from stakeholders, from customer is also the gap. And last but not least, value mapping and benefit tracking. I realized it was one of the hardest part for anyone who pitch any data initiative. Yes, you can come up with a great story, but when people start asking about, okay, show us the value change and how you're going to track those benefits, those story won't give you the answer. So that's why I want to share with you one interesting point I've learned along the way. It is about the organizational culture. It is about the organization that you work with. There are 4 types of organization where you can see on the screen. It is like a matrix of, depending on the flexibility, the level of flexibility and the level of focus, whether it is internal or external focus, flexibility or more around stability. Then it will foster the culture of or family run business, or it is more like, say, a highly hierarchy structure where it is they value more about just do the right things that the superior asks you to do. Then, or it is about, like, say, a more, like, say, flat structure where people tend to think outside the box, like those in a startup. With that kind of like culture, you will have a different set of expectation, and you will have a different way of kind of like present the value and in a way assess the risk level. Last but not least, at the bottom right corner, it is around the market, what I call the market organizational culture, where it is all about result, outcome based. And the text that I highlight in yellow just give you the example of that type, like organization or business that align with those culture. So for me, it is about knowing our organization, those people who we are work with, and what is the core value. How is it, like, say, collectively, how we think, how we value, and how we progress further. Once you understand and realize the core culture values, then you have to ask yourself a very difficult question and give it like an honest answer. Is your initiative in alignment with these organizational value? Yes, no, or maybe. You have to be true to yourself before you put your idea in front of others and ask for their support. Okay, so that is about the pitch, the general information. Now I want to move on to the concept that I like to share today, zero-based data pitch. It is all about begins with the ends in mind, and I'll share a couple of techniques how you can make use of it. with what you have right now. Okay, so first, this is, for me, it is like, say, a framework of what I call zero-based data pitch. Before I get into those key points, I want to give you a little bit of context of why I come up with this name. This name, zero-based data pitch, I use the concept from finance. Recently, there's a growing number of organizations adopt what they call zero-based budgeting. So it is all about, rather than, like, say, an organization, year-on-year budget will basically just reuse what they have done in the past, and then just adjust a couple of, like, say, just like balance the funding for certain projects, certain program. The zero-based budgeting, it is about start with a blank piece of paper, and then just write down what is necessary for tomorrow. And from there, look back how much money, budget, and resource the organization gonna commit. Then from there, go through the consultation with stakeholders to finalize the budgeting. So I just get inspiration from that approach to come up with this name, the zero-based data pitch. So as you can see, the framework of this zero-based data pitch methodologies is about, you want to see the action. You do not want to see a story. You want the outcome, and you work all the way back. So if we see the action on the right-hand side as a starting point, we will see, before we can come to that point, there's going to be a stage I call inspire the buy-in, the ownership and sponsorship of the executive. I think that is very simple to see, but it is extremely difficult to execute. However, I think it's still feasible. Then before the inspire, before we talk to executive and gain the buy-in, get the support, it is about the build-up of influence and value co-creation. It is, I would say, 9 out of 10 initiative that present to executive, it all came kind of like bubble up under the surface, to the point where the team believe that they have all the answer, all the fact, and then they present it to like, say, senior leaders for endorsement. But I would say the only one, the 1 out of 10, that actually start to build up the influence through value co-creation with a peer, through feedback, early feedback, and kind of like guidance from senior executive. That 1 out of 10 or 10% tend to have a better chance to go through that phase, the endorsement, and then get the idea to be presented in front of leadership, the leadership team, and then secure the funding. So for me, the build up of the influence, the exposure and the awareness of your initiative and the value is extremely important. So this is like you win the battle before the actual battle happens. And then to the left, it was about define stage, where it is where the a lot of hard work, but you and your team can do it. It is like your full control to define things like the big picture, the people, and the timing of the initiative. So now let's see in a more kind of like details of what do we have with this roadmap. Just to make it easy, I will just go with the first point: define big picture, people, and timing. What are these? Why do I have this key point there? And with the kind of like diamond diagram there, where you have faster, cheaper, smarter, and better, and with the human-centered design in the middle. For me, when you have an idea, it has to align with business value. And the business value, not just about yes or no, it has to bring what I call the appealing part of your idea. Better, cheaper, faster, smarter. If you can go through those 4 key points and you ticked it, every single business leader will spend time with you, guaranteed. And then the key part around the human-centered design, it is the icing on the cake. It is where you're gonna win the heart and the mind of the wider audience, not just like say decision maker. We'll get through the key point there in a moment. Then to the next phase with build up. The key message I want you to think about after today, it is about manage up, manage down, and manage across. Manage up, it is about your direct report, your senior leaders. That's manage up. The expectation, the communication, the message, the feedback. Then manage down is about, if you are a team leader, then manage down is about passing on the right instruction, the right feedback to the team the people that you work with around the initiative. And manage across, it is about the situational awareness of who might get impact directly and indirectly to the initiative that you have in mind. And then manage across piece gonna build up the influence and gain that value co-creation momentum that you expect. Then finally, the inspire. It is we can talk a lot about how to get the buy-in, the ownership, and sponsorship. We can explain to people why they should do it, but throughout trial and error, I think a very simple message will do the justice. It's about save money, make money, and a lot more. And then the a lot more we open up for supporting information or further details, but keep it really straight to the point. We save money, we make money, and a lot more. Don't try to. I think that the worst part is we try to teach leadership how to do things, how to do their job. I think if you want to have a better result, you better be their friend and speak their language. Okay, now we go through a little bit more details about the defined stage, the big picture, the people and the timing of change. As you can see here on the left-hand side, I think it is very important to understand what is going on that part. It is all about visualize a mind map. You start with your idea, then you have to be able to pinpoint the people who are actually gonna get impact or participate or get the benefit. You need to unlock that question. So go with the who, the people, and then the timing of change on the horizon. For me, I would say this is the secret sauce that I have put in place over years. So basically, it is about, put it this way, you want to get people in the organization to look at the same direction and realize that certain problem that we all need to try to solve. Then how do you do that? For me, I've learned over the time is actually the way that united all, because time is literally, it just happened. We all have to tag along with time. And if you look at organization, actually there are going to be certain milestones along the way, whether you liked it or not. In like say a year's time, 18 months, 24 months, certain things going to happen, like whether it is a regulation change, whether it is a product kind of like exit the market, or whether it is a like say the company, they're going to reshuffle the CEO, for example. It is the element that I will pay attention to when I create this visual mind map. I will map out exactly, okay, this is my idea, and these are the key change in like that kind of like a period of time, and I try to connect it. If I have successfully connect those 3 points, then I will expand to those above the line inside and below the line inside with data, as you can see on the screen. Like I said, I will read through the company's, the organization strategy, business plan, strategic goals, current pain point or current focus. I will connect those dots to the idea and the people and the time that I have collected. Then for the below the line insights, it is the part that very much like close to data professionals, like in terms of tech. What is the movement? Is there any change, major change in terms of tech landscape, like cloud, moving to the cloud, or change in the data? Then pain points, for example, cybersecurity is a pain point for a certain organization. I will list it out that the key point, those points that relate to my initiative. Then around, let's say, the process, what is the current process? Is there any known kind of like bottleneck that relate to the initiative or the idea that I have? Then the resource that will execute the operation that my idea can facilitate. Any constraint, non-constraint, or any major change. As a resource, we talk about human people. So there's always an up and down, and certain area going to be intense in terms of resource changing, high turnaround. If I have those insights, I will map it out there. And finally, it's about operation, like how is the current operation look like, any change or any known kind of like rearrangement in the next, let's say, 12 months, 18 months. So it is a lot of the work happens there. For me, I will do it by myself first, and then I will start to circulate with my team and kind of like trusted advisor within the organization to get the good understanding. Then after that, I'll move on to the second part where it is, I call it connected dot around the business lens of faster, cheaper, smarter, and better in terms of value. If my idea with the insight that I have, how does it bring those kind of like value, faster, cheaper, smarter, or better? In terms of like say data initiative, faster, what does it mean? It is not about the split second that you save. It is about the downstream, the final outcome. Does it mean the turnaround time is, like say, from 8 hours now down to just maybe 2 hours, like say, and then you can do it pretty much on the fly. Better in terms of the richness of, let's say, data that you can provide. Smarter in a way that you can pre-configure certain pattern for dashboard, for example. So dashboard not just present a kind of like a fixed layout, but certain condition, like say certain threshold meet, then it will expand for further information or predefined pattern that you already have there. So that's smarter and cheaper in terms of data. It could be cheaper for, let's say, data storage, cheaper for backup, or cheaper for the cost of operation on cloud. With the human centered design, it would be more around customer experience or the user experience, or the reduction of rework, accuracy of the outcome. Then after connecting the dot, we can start to build up the storyline. And you can see here, we have we start with the idea. The expected outcome is about the concept. The concept where it will expand it to, okay, do I have the supporting data? Do I have the context, business context? How do I relate it to strategic goal? Is there any change in on the horizon that will make this change essential, critical? How much effort based on the understanding of the resource and the change in the tech landscape? potential impact, timing. Once again, timing, it is about change that on the horizon with the change that we propose. So then you already have a very good, very convincing story. Then move on to the second stage. It is about build up. It is like you build up in a story, like you watch a movie, an action movie. You always crave for this kind of like build up stage where you build up the influence and you get the support and the contribution from others. So you have a concept, then you will socialize it in 3 dimensions: up, down, and across. So it is not just about get them to say yes, but actually it is about get them to participate and bring that concept become a collaboration, a true organizational change. Then at the end, we want to have it as an opportunity, like say something real, something that is already approved and endorsed by the crowd. It is becoming a pressure, if I can say it. What I want at the end of this phase of this build up is I want to have an invisible pressure for the next stage. That invisible pressure gonna be applied on top of the senior executive or the leadership team. So here you are. Inspire is about the pitch. It is about the opportunity. We have the opportunity. We have the support of the crowd, the people on the ground. Then it is about the message. You can definitely see a lot of template around the pitch or elevator pitch online that you can make it yours, but try to focus is around that kind of like key message: save money, make money, and a lot more. And after that, not just to give people an idea, but also to make it more, like say, convincing. You can even try this RISE score. It stands for reach, impact, confidence, and effort. That kind of like very simple math where you have to do some sort of like benchmark between, like say, many ideas or many opportunity or initiative. Remember, for the tight budget situation, you don't just give them a good idea and a reason why or a good story. The idea has to be benchmarked along with others' great ideas. So prepare in advance those information that I have mentioned earlier. You can definitely, you definitely can make the score very, very convincing right here. So that is about the zero-based design. Now moving on to the next step is about the practical side of this approach. How do we make the invisible visible? What does good look like? In uncertainty, good is enough, suffice. So basically, it's about get things done rather than perfection. So to get things done for your like initiative, it is about it's about speed and timing, adaptability to change, limited time and resource, but deliver the outcome that's good enough. And then the promise of how do you scale it up through continuous improvement. Next, with the what's good look like, I leverage the power of yes man framework, but in this kind of like set of 5 questions. Is it a business pain point now, or it is potentially a missed opportunity in the near future? Is it a technically feasible kind of like solution? Is it financially viable? Is it an instant impact? Is it benefits growing over the time? In hindsight, if you can have those answers beforehand, before you pitch to the executive leadership, you already make their job so easy with those yes. And the details you can have a look again throughout the slide deck later on. Okay, the other part of what's good look like, I use what they call the Maya principle, future-proof for today's user. Maya stands for most advanced yet acceptable. And the iPhone was a great example of this design principle. And why do we bring a product design principle here? Because for me, it is illustrate the idea of what's good look like. And I wholeheartedly use it all the time. I do not just say, okay, most advanced, yes, yet acceptable, and take it as a face value. I actually map it out in this couple of matrix. If you can put your initiative and then align it with this matrix, you can see, do I really have a chance, or should I rework it, or should I expand it before you get a rejection? And I think it is, honestly, it is good when you have your initiative at least true to yourself, and be ready for any setback. The other part of what's good look like, I sum up in this kind of like 5 do, 5 don't, and 2 must. Let's start with 2 must. You must start from the end with the people, timing, and outcome. Yes, you have a great idea, but think about the people first, and then think about the time, because time move on. Yeah, time just is the only that everyone cannot control. So make it your advantage, play it to your advantage, and think about the outcome that you want to drive from your initiative. And second, the second must is about the mindset. Pitching is a marathon, it's not a sprint. That's why elevator pitch is more or less like, say, a metaphor. It's not something that people really have it in corporate world. With the 5 do and 5 don't, I would not spend too much time on it. I just picked up a couple of key highlights there. First, with the 5 do's, the thing that I always try to emphasize or make the effort is about make the headline of the loss and the reward. Make headline. And how do you make a headline? You can quickly check it from either the internet or ChatGPT, how to make a headline. Because it is about capture the attention. Basically use the storytelling and data at a very kind of like effective way. And then in terms of the don't, I will highlight one thing. It is about try to tell a story. So many times I see people try to tell a story, but then they get carried away, and then the focus was in a way get lost. Whereas the decision maker, they want to hear not just the good story, but it is about the business value. Okay, so now it come to the part of the highlight, because I like to spend the time with you for Q&A. Just a couple of key takeaways. So with the data initiative pitching, you start with the end and work backward. Then secondly, it is about the exercise of mapping and remapping business value. Any organization will change over the time, especially right now. The priorities different, the conditions are different, and the people are different. So you have to understand that your good idea might be obsolete in no time at all. So be ready to rethink and remap it, and then believe in yourself. Timing is everything, and then do the pitching before the actual pitch. That's the last takeaway. Okay, so that is the presentation that from me. Now I'd like you to revisit your own one or two things that you want to learn today, and then one question you have about the topic. I like to give the audience the chance to reflect and maybe share. Maybe we can have a minute to share. If you don't mind, can you paste it into the chat session? Any of the things that you want to learn today, And from there, we can see how the content that I have delivered, whether it aligns with what you want to learn today. Maybe I'll call my my friend John. If you're there, John, would you like to kick off?
Yes.
Maybe share with us what you have. Or Jan.
I'm here as well, and while people are pasting this into the chat, I think it's already good because we're already at 45 past the hour. That in the meantime we moderate some questions. Is that okay? Because we've seen some questions coming in, and I think they're very good ones. So I would really love to share this with you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, so maybe we will move to the next session with and we can continue the conversation here.
So let's ask some questions. The first question that came in is from Jason, and he is asking, is it necessary to tailor the data pitches to different stakeholders, such as executives, investors?
Okay, so we have Jason's question. Is there necessary to tailor the data pitch to different stakeholders, as such executive, investor, or technical teams? I would say no. If you the reason why was if you check the framework that I share, I would say basically I along the way I get those stakeholders along the journey, but I do not pitch them. I try to build the idea, start from the idea to an opportunity along the way with technical team, with executive, and then at the end, when I have like a certain level of support and basically the back and forth feedback loop, help the content cover the well-rounded business context and technical delivery, then I will present it in front of, let's say, investor or decision maker.
Right.
So back to your question, I would say don't try to pitch everyone. Just focus on a group of decision maker. For the rest of the stakeholder, bring them along the journey.
Good.
Thank you.
Let's go towards the next question. And the next question.
Okay. Sorry, I have the other question. This other questions is, what would be your recommendation of how we can practice this in life? Very simple. If you have a chance to go through my slide deck again, have a look, and then you can follow the number of technique and the roadmap I put there to practice, and hit me up on LinkedIn for any clarification or any lesson learned. I'm more than happy to give you my time. But the main part is you start from the end and you make it become your habit. One last from Cesare. It is about stay in your lane. You don't understand. Okay, so what do I mean by say don't stay in your lane? If it is in the context of if you work in data team, you are a data scientist, so you will stick to your mindset of a data scientist. You ask for access for data, you ask for better tool, but you do not reach out to, let's say, other part of the business and see from their perspective and give them the feedback from let's say an outsider just like yours. I hope it answered your questions about.
Good. And with that, I would like to thank you so much, Eric, for sharing your session today. I really enjoyed this. Actually, I learned quite a lot of new things myself. It's always so impressive how you can make technical models and approaches that we've been seeing throughout your presentation quite simple. And that's always one of the key things that I really like on how you break that down. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your knowledge with us. We already have our next sessions lined up. So in the next hour, in 10 minutes time from now, you need to make a very difficult decision on whether you're going to listen to either Guillermo Gusk, who's a senior data and architect at Next Reason. He's going to talk about designing analytic systems, event-based architecture. And the other speaker is John Musa, who's a senior solutions architect at AWS. And he's going to talk about silos to data-driven culture, a modern data strategy model. So again, I know impossible choice to make, but choose the session that is most in line with your knowledge and what you would like to learn. And we look forward to seeing all of you back in 10 minutes for our next panels or next tracks of sessions. Thanks, everyone. And thanks again, Eric, for your great and insightful session.